More than 200 press releases by real estate stakeholders in my mailbox, and all are glorifying the Union Budget 2025-26. Has real estate finally got its due with the Union Budget? Why are the stakeholders so upbeat with the Union Budget that has by and large ignored the wish list of the sector? Are not these industry voices taking U-turn in pre and post budget overtones? The overtones of real estate stakeholders in the post budget analysis raises more questions than addressing any of the concerns of the sector. I am Ravi Sinha and I get amused with the rhetoric of the leading voices of the Indian real estate after every union budget. It's ridiculous, to say the least. In the pre-budget, they come out with a long list of demands with claims that only real estate has the ability and capability to accelerate the economic growth. After all, real estate has backward and forward linkages with around 200 odd industries. To add to it, construction sector is the second largest economic activity in India after agriculture. To a large extent, the claims of real estate sector appear to be legitimate if one takes it on the sheer face value. But then the ground realities are very different. Before we delve into why and how the sector was ignored for both the demand side as well as the supply side, let's look at the critical demands of the sector this time around and for many years now. Let's break the budget wish list of Indian real estate into two parts. 7 key demands each for both business as well as buyers. So what were the demands of real estate sector? Demand number 1, granting industry status to the sector. Now my fundamental objection here is, does real estate operate like an industry? Do they build a product and then sell? Or it's a sell and build model? Add to it, we are all conscious of the fact that most of the cases of financial irregularities have been reported in the real estate sector only. But still they continue to demand industry status, assuming that this will bring institutional investment into the sector. Now this is not a bad idea, provided the sector would have been operating like an organized industry. This demand has been ignored. Demand number 2, single window clearance for the real estate projects. Now this is a legitimate demand and for some strange reasons this has not been granted for many years now. Demand number 3, GST reduction on key construction raw materials. This demand has also not been honored. Demand number 4, input tax credit for the construction material. Again, this has not been granted. It's a different matter that developers are known not to pass on the benefit of input tax credit and GST reduction to the home buyers. Demand number 5, infrastructure status for affordable housing. Again, they have not got it. Demand number 6, price cap of affordable housing to be hiked to 70 lakh from present 45 lakh. Now, prima facie, the developers are saying that this demand is not for the sector but for the home buyers. But we all know that they don't want to operate in EWS, economic weaker sections, and affordable housing. The demand is not for the buyers but for the builders. My fundamental objection is, if the definition of affordable housing is capped at from 45 to 70 lakhs, will it change the affordability of the average middle class home buyers? This demand again has not been met. Demand number 7, increased fund allocation for stressed projects under Swami Fund. This is the only demand which has been granted in the budget. It's a different matter that the defaulter builders have not been completely blacklisted in the sector in a business where there is no entry barrier. Ideally, the Swami fund should have completely blacklisted the defaulting builders. But out of the 7 key demands of sector, only one has been kept. Now the 7 key demands of home buyers. Demand number 1, GST exemption on under construction projects. A very legitimate demand. How come housing falls under GST during construction life cycle but does not fall into GST once the product is ready? This has been ignored. Demand number 2, separate and higher deduction for housing loan principal repayment up to 5 lakh. That is currently capped at 1.5 lakh under section 80C. The demand has been ignored. Demand number 3, hike in section 24B tax deduction limit for home loan interest paid to 5 lakh. This has not been honored. Demand number 4, revival of CLSS, credit linked subsidy scheme for first time home buyers. This demand has not even been touched upon. Demand number 5, reintroduction of tax holidays for affordable housing projects under section 80 IBA. Again, a demand that has been ignored. Demand number 6, extension of tax benefits for first time home buyers in affordable projects under section 80 EEA. The budget has not even touched upon this subject. Demand number 7, tax exemption on rental housing. This is the only demand which has been granted. So now, if you have 2 properties with you, the deemed rental will not apply on the second property. It will be considered as self-occupied. Or if you are having rental income, the cap limit or to deduct TDS has been raised from 2.4 lakh to now 6 lakhs. So out of the 7 key demands of the sector for business as well as the 7 key demands of buyers, only one each has been met.
Hi. Thank you all for subscribing our channel and posting your comments. I appreciate. Trust me, I take time to read all the comments and I take your comments, feedback and queries with due professional seriousness. I would continue to make video on the topics and questions raised in the comments section as I aspire to make this platform dialogue driven. May I request you all to subscribe this channel and keep posting your comments. Our mail ID is given in the description and you are also free to ask questions through your short and crisp video. I will try my best to take your video queries and reply it in the subsequent video. Let's make this channel unique and dialogue driven. Thank you.
Now the sector cheerleader overtones can only confuse a neutral analyst. I have a few questions with real estate stakeholders today. Again, I will ask 7 questions. Have they even got 1/3 of their demands? Question number 2. Why they are not serious with their demands? Question number 2. Were they not serious with their demands? Question number 3. Whether these demands were just pressured posturing prior to the budget? Question number 4. Whether they knew beforehand that they would finally rest with some silver lining here and there? Question number 5. Were they conscious of the fact that real estate won't be directly granted anything tangible? Question number 6. If every respective budget has been game changer for real estate in the last few years, when will the game actually change? Question number 7, which is more important. Are not they sounding hypocritical with their U-turn now? Unfortunately, the leading voices within the sector would not like to answer these uncomfortable questions. They don't want to be seen on the wrong sides of the power corridors. Everybody is aware that the momentum of housing sector post COVID has come to a standstill by 2025. The target of the sector to reach a valuation of 1 trillion USD or 4.7 trillion US dollars or 10 trillion US dollar, whatever is their distant dream, this does not seem to be achievable by any stretch of imagination now. The economic survey prior to the union budget said that housing demand in India is expected to touch 93 million units by 2036. Will it? Well, as likely as the statement of Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman that Viksit Bharat will have zero poverty, quality education, high quality, affordable and comprehensive healthcare. Well, if only lofty claims would have been the roadmap, we would be living in a different world altogether. One last point. I hope now the real estate sector won't declare this video as sin item and demand the finance minister to put it under GST. So I rest my case. Thanks for watching.